It's time now to check your money with America's money maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Vicki, how are you today? Hope everything is going well as we launch ourselves into springtime. At least that's what at least that's what I want to believe.
Listen, I'm going to believe that with you, George, because I feel great, and the weather the last few days has been spectacular,
Yeah,
and looking forward to springtime myself.
yes, we are. Yes, we
So,
are.
speaking of this week, we had together a very interesting night on Friday night
Yes.
with the kickoff event for the Economic Empowerment Summit that's being produced by Shea Brooks Rolling here in Syracuse, New York. I really was impressed with, first of all, the number of people who attended, the lineup, and also I kind of think I'm impressed with you as the moderator for this entire event for all of, I think, what you have like 100 participants that will eventually be part of this event. So congratulations to Michelle, congratulations to you, and also an encouragement to everyone that now that the kickoff event has taken place, this is, as a reminder, a virtual event.
That's
That
right.
is a event that is what I would call on call, or basically you can
On
call
command.
it up anytime that you want to.
Right. Yeah.
So go to the website, register, get the instructions relative to the Economic Empowerment Summit for 2021.
Yeah. The Financial Empowerment Summit 2021. And we should, like you said, we're rolling them out throughout the year. So there'll be different segments, different opportunities, but all of them will be available at on one platform once they're all created. But there's not going to be a live event. There's not going to be a one-time event. They're going to be rolled out over time. So
So
financial.
think, yeah, so sort of think of it as your continuous class on
Yes.
different economic subjects that will be taking place, okay, over the next several months.
Well, thank you for that. And we're meeting some very fascinating entrepreneurs. We've got one already in the can. And so what do we
I
call it?
like that official language, that technical language. Again, okay, George.
Yeah, that's what when we have something already to go, right? It's already in the can. How,
Right. And if you, I'm gonna put my own plug in. If you would like to see the kickoff event, because I hosted the kickoff event, which
about that?
was last week.
Which I
Okay,
should
that's also in the can now,
thank you.
George.
That's right.
So
You also did a wonderful job, and I'm nervous now because now you're gonna think you could do all of this. That's that.
okay. Well, listen, I'm gonna jump into our subject for this week, because there's been a lot of conversations about a couple of very big economic events that are starting to roll out.
Yeah.
We've already had one big event, which was the stimulus check, and that is continuing to roll out based on when you filed your taxes, how you filed your taxes, if there have been changes in your income over the last couple of years. Because if there was a change between your 219 income and your 220 income, you possibly are now being reevaluated for qualifying for receiving stimulus checks. But the second thing that's going on is, well, third, there are three things. The second thing is how rapidly we're being vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as you know, I was on the road. Okay, I was down in Texas, but I was listening the entire time I was traveling about how much we're stepping up in our vaccination rates. Why is that an economic event? Primarily because the greater and the more rapidly we get into a place where we can have what's called herd immunity, the possibilities of rolling out business activity
Mm-hmm.
and starting to see an uptick in business activity gets greater and greater and greater. But the third thing is this, and this is where I want to concentrate today, and that is on the legislation that is before Congress right now concerning infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a little bit confused.
Uh-huh.
And here's why I'm confused. I feel like, okay, the pluses and minuses, the arguments that we're having are almost a step back in time. Here's what I mean by a step back in time. George, you're as old as I am, or almost. I say almost. You're in the same general category.
We in the same ballpark. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me something. When you made a call 20 years ago, how did you make that call?
Probably on a landline with a cord or something like that.
A landline with a cord, possibly with one of those, you dial it this way and go, okay.
Not 20 years ago, but maybe a little bit longer than that with the dial. Right.
But definitely you had a landline with a cord.
That's correct.
Then we went from a landline with a cord to a bag phone. I remember my first cell phone was a bag phone you carried on your hip.
Right.
Then we went to a flip phone.
Right. Remember, and it was so big, some of those phones, right?
Right, because they look like little boxes upside of your head. Okay.
I still have one of those, by the way.
Oh, George. Oh, George. Okay. Anyway, and then, but the point is that we still called it a call, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I need to make a call. And today you have your cell phone. And so you now have either your iPhone, your Android, whatever it happens to be, but it's basically your phone that you carry today. And eventually, I do expect that one day soon we'll be making calls like this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, just from an earpiece that you're wearing, and you tap it.
Okay? Like how we're speaking today, we're on a call, right?
We're on a call, okay?
Right.
So there is progress. There is change. We have accepted the change. We have accepted the fact that the term has evolved. The term infrastructure has evolved. Yet we're standing in the old, okay, right now the argument is, well, if we have an infrastructure bill, it can only be for bridges and roads and tunnels and things that were of a concrete basis, which was what infrastructure was classified as 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, as though we have not evolved. The economy has evolved. The needs of the economy have evolved. The term still has the same meaning, which is to provide the resource, the resource necessary to improve the economy or improve society. That is what infrastructure is, so that we can have commerce flow. But the fact that the economy and infrastructure, the word, has evolved, doesn't mean when you look at a bill and you see something that is there that is not what you see in the classic definition that was coined 40, 50 years ago, that it is not infrastructure. One of the key things around infrastructure is workforce. Workforce today, okay, it is a key component versus a concrete item. So within a bill, if we see that we have now funding that's necessary to move workforce forward, why are we, excuse me, as the kids would say, freaking out? We know that the workforce has to be changed. We talked about this several months ago, for the fourth industrial revolution, which is digital. Yet we have not put enough of our emphasis around retraining workforce to provide for the digital economy. So if part of the infrastructure bill is around workforce retraining, or part of the infrastructure bill is around creating a better system for care for individuals so that they can now function in society, why are we freaking out? We have to stop and think about the evolution that has taken place in our economy and how those things that have evolved and will continue to evolve need to be funded so that we can keep up with the things that are necessary for us to grow.
Yeah.
A society that does not take care of its people is a society that will crumble. I do not plan to sit here and allow for crumbling.
Yeah, no, and I think, Vicki, there's also a context here in this moment, right? If you look at what happened educationally for a lot of young people with the schools and people not being connected, some of them,
right.
That also exacerbates our challenge to prepare the workforce for the coming. No, it's not coming. It's already here.
Okay, we are actually playing catch up because the things that we anticipated to happen over the next 5 years all had to happen in the year of 2020 for us to survive what was happening with the pandemic. So it shifted It's here, but we are now playing catch up. So the needs of quote unquote infrastructure are upon us. We are catching up, and we can no longer sit and pretend that life has not evolved and continues to evolve, and our definitions have to continue to evolve in order for those to happen. So I'll ask everybody. I say, listen, when you're talking to your representatives, you're talking to your congressmen, you're talking to your senators, ask them if they still make phone calls the way that they did 20 years ago.
Mm.
Ask them if they still communicate with their constituents the same way they did 20 years ago. Or are they banking the same way they did 20 years ago? Then the infrastructure has evolved. Why are you wasting time talking about things as though they were in the past?
I got one better for you, Vicki.
Okay.
Are you doing things the same way you did it last year? Let's just go.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, even last
you talk
year.
about,
Okay.
Let's talk about last year. What are we doing differently now than we would do last year? So you don't even go back 20 years.
There's a bigger visual. There's a bigger timeline. That's what. Okay, but you're correct. Okay, even last year. So because last year was a big shift. It was absolutely a big shift. This is an economic issue for everyone, because if we do not fund the changes that are necessary, the people will suffer. You will suffer. You will suffer because the economic growth necessary for you to continue to have the jobs that you need will not be there. Okay, we will suffer together. Go ahead, George.
I'll add this little caveat to you. We will suffer, but also I would say this: somebody's going to be ready. It's whether now I'm going to make it personal for the African American community.
Good.
Will we be? Because somebody's going to be ready.
That's correct.
Right? Will we be ready as an African American community?
Will we be ready? Okay. Guess what? This morning I noticed, or a couple of days ago, I'm sorry, I noticed that Jeff Bezos, who we all know who he is, okay?
Right. But if somebody does, CEO of Amazon. Okay, go ahead.
CEO of Amazon, okay? Probably still the richest person in the world. Okay?
Yes. Last check. Yep.
Last check, like last week. Okay. Still the richest person in the world. Said, I am in favor of a tax increase on corporations because we must fund our infrastructure needs. When you have a person who has, and I shouldn't even use the word lose, but who will be impacted by a change in corporate rates, say to you, we must do this because our infrastructure needs must be funded, then there is something that he sees. I think he's a pretty smart guy as far as business is concerned, that he knows looking forward, if we don't do this, we will not be ready. And he's already ready and we're behind. So we've got to do this.
I'll just add this, Vicki. A lot of skeptics who say, yeah, Jeff, because what has Amazon really paid over the last 20 years? So they ain't really, so you can afford to pay something because you ain't been paying nothing really. So
it doesn't matter. Okay. Well, we can talk about that, and there's a lot to be discussed there.
Right.
But the realization is the business structure requires it, and we are all impacted because we are all interconnected. Well, George, I'm going to stop right here.
Yes, please.
But I want to encourage everyone, okay, that if you have a question, feel free to give me a call. Area code 315-930-4499. You can follow us on Facebook. Please like us on YouTube. Go in and watch it, Brackens, FSN.com, or Brackens Financial Solutions Network as far as the YouTube channel is concerned. And if you want to drop us an email, it's info@brackensfsn.com. At this point in time, George, I'll say our plate is full.
Thank you very much. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. She is America's Money Maven.